Peugeot wants to be a key player in the plug-in hybrid part of the mid-sized SUV segment with this car, the 3008 Hybrid. It looks smart, certainly makes the efficiency numbers, and will work well as a package for a family buyer wanting a degree of EV tech, but not quite ready to take the plunge into full battery motoring. But though the plug-in technology on offer here is pretty cutting edge, it's also pretty heavy and pricey. This isn't the first time we've seen a hybrid 3008 model. The first generation design was available in electrified form too, but that was a self-charging setup mated to a diesel engine. This time round, a 1.6 litre petrol turbo power plant is mated to an 8-speed auto gearbox that's been blended with more advanced plug-in hybrid technology that allows for 36 miles of WLTP rated all-electric driving range. This powertrain features in two flavours, in 225 horsepower form in the front-driven 3008 Hybrid, or in 300 horsepower guys in the all-wheel drive 3008 Hybrid 4, the latter variant featuring two electric motors, a 108 horsepower unit on the front axle and a 111 horsepower motor on the rear axle, hence the nominal all-wheel drive capability. You get 4 driving modes, with the one you'll be using most of the time being the hybrid setting that chooses the best mix of electric and petrol propulsion to suit the driving style whilst optimising efficiency. The alternative settings are either Sport, where the car combines the power of the electric and petrol motors to offer livelier performance, all-wheel drive, and electric, which is battery power only. As usual with plug-in models, visual differentiations from standard variants are few. In this case, that means special dichroic badging, which you'll find here at the front on the wings. There's also an extra footer flap and a cyan light that shines from the interior mirror when the car is in all-electric motion. Inside, the hybrid model changes are subtle in this very high-quality cabin. There's a little lightning bolt piano key button just below the centre dash infotainment screen, which accesses various hybrid-specific functions. There's an extra energy display option for the instrument binnacle screen. We'll get to that. And the auto gearbox lever gains an extra B option so that regenerative braking force can be altered. That's about it. As ever with a 3008, the interior feels of much higher quality than you'd expect from a volume brand, aided in sophistication by a digital instrument binnacle screen and a huge display for the central monitor. As usual with a modern Peugeot, there's an i-Cockpit dash layout that you'll have to get used to that leaves you looking over the smaller steering wheel at the instrument binnacle rather than conventionally through it. A word about those instrument gauges. They represent another of this cabin's defining talking points. Conventional dials completely replaced by this fully configurable and customizable 12.3-inch colour screen. Just about everything else you'll need to know can be found on what looks like a tablet PC attached to the fascia, a multifunction colour touchscreen that's 10 inches in size. Let's take a look in the back. Now, because this design was created from the very outset to accommodate battery power, there's no compromise in rear seat accommodation, and a couple of adults will be quite comfortable. Boot space is perhaps inevitably compromised considerably by the battery placement, down to 395 litres from 520 litres normally. The fuel tank size is 10 litres smaller too. In compensation, Peugeot offers an extra 25-litre underfloor storage area for stowing the cables and a ski hatch so that you can push through longer items into the cabin. Use these cargo sidewall catches to retract the 60/40 split rear bench, and you'll find that the seat's folded capacity is 1,357 litres, down from 1,482 litres in the standard model. Front-driven 3008 hybrid pricing kicks in from around the £35,000 mark for base active premium trim. Add a little more for the mid-range Allure spec we'd recommend, also offered in plusher Allure premium form. Ideally though, you'd want this top GT level of trim, also available in flagship GT premium form. The aforementioned 300 horsepower hybrid 4 model, which is what we have here, is offered in two forms: GT spec for around the £45,000 mark, and this top GT premium trim for around £47,000 or more. Yes, really. Let's get to the figures. We've covered the 36-mile WLTP rated all-electric driving range. It's actually more like 25 miles in real-world use. And we also ought to apply real-world thinking to projections of likely fuel economy, because the Fantasyland official combined WLTP figures up to 222.3 miles to the gallon for the hybrid and 235.4 miles to the gallon for the hybrid 4 aren't likely to be replicated by the average owner. You might have noticed from this that the four-wheel drive version is slightly more efficient, and that holds true for WLTP emissions, rated at up to 39 grams per kilometre for the hybrid 4 and up to 41 grams per kilometre for the 3008 hybrid. These readings will mean attractively low benefit-in-kind figures, a 12% benefit-in-kind rate for the hybrid 4 as opposed to 27% for an ordinary 3008 GT diesel. Bear in mind that you'll need to find £500 extra to upgrade your 3008 hybrid to a model incorporating a 7.4 kilowatt-hour fast charger that would be capable of accepting charge from anything faster than a domestic 3-pin socket. This halves charging time when charging with a typical garage 7 kilowatt wall box, and it really ought to be standard. Charging the 13.2 kilowatt hour battery takes 3 hours 45 minutes with a standard Mode 3 Type 2 cable, or 1 hour 45 minutes if the optional onboard charger has been fitted. You can certainly see why someone might be drawn to this 3008 hybrid. It's a far more complete product than the first generation diesel electric version ever was, and the stats are tempting. For the front-driven version, up to 222.3 miles to the gallon, up to 41 grams per kilometre of CO2, and 36 miles of all-electric range.